This is part 3 of one of our worst rescue cases to date. While our vets went over his x-rays and started getting a plan together, we decided it was a good time for him to have one of his first of many baths. He had been given a pain medication at this time, so he was kind of loopy, but he was definitely enjoying it. All of this combined had been a very stressful day for him, so I'm sure he was getting to enjoy some much needed love and TLC while he could before we went back to working on him medically. Finally, with a good idea of what we'd be working with, we began cutting off the first layer of overgrown hoof. And I can promise you that this does not hurt him. This is basically the equivalent of you clipping your fingernail off. One of the main reasons we waited until x-rays were done before trimming his hooves was because in cases like this, the horse could suffer from severe rotation of the bones in their hooves, or their quick, like what dogs have in their nails, could possibly grow out more than usual, and if cut deeply could cause pain and lameness on that hoof. This sore, you see, was caused from his hoof rubbing his leg for so long. Close to 10 pounds of excess hoof was removed before we all finally agreed that he had had enough for one day and needed time to relax and decompress. So he didn't have to do any excess walking. We loaded him back onto the trailer to pull him around to his back quarantine stall, where he would stay for the next few days at the vet clinic. It was agreed by everyone over his case that he needed a few days to get his strength back, and then we would put him under complete anesthesia before removing the rest of the excess hoof. He would stay with our vets, receiving round-the-clock care for the next few days, and of course having daily pain medication to help with any discomfort. Sadly, these kind of cases are not the kind of cases we can rush and have everything completed within one day. The care he was now receiving is more than what he has had in many years. We set the date for his procedure and then allowed him to rest for the days leading up. He took full advantage of his round-the-clock 5-star care he was receiving, as you can see here as he enjoyed his fan and all the scratches he could possibly receive. It was wonderful for us to be able to see life back in this beautiful horse's eyes, and he was finally able to rest for once, knowing that he was in a safe place and being taken care of. Be sure to like and follow for updates. This is part 4 of one of our worst rescue cases to date. On the day of his procedure, we went ahead and cut more of the excess hoof off before putting him under anesthesia. We had an amazing team of vets and a wonderful farrier working on him the whole time. Once more the hoof was removed, it was time to go and put him under anesthesia to get the rest of the more complicated parts. One of the main reasons we decided to put him under anesthesia is because this was going to be a very long and drawn-out process. This way, he wasn't having to stand for multiple hours supporting himself with only 3 legs while we worked on him. He did perfectly fine the whole time he was under and never had any issues. We did see that he was going to be sore as expected on the right front hoof, which was, of course, his worst hoof. He was also very loopy whenever he woke back up and very confused as to what happened. About an hour later, he was perfectly stable and ready to go. Once he was cleared to go home, the vets made sure to do a quick wrap with bandaging and tape so his hoof was easily supported for the trailer ride home. Once we pulled into our drive, you could tell that he was instantly curious as to what was going on around him. He was so excited to step off of the trailer and into his very first field he had been in over 10 years. He instantly got to work on eating as much grass as he could fit in his mouth at a time. He was also very curious of absolutely anything I did with him. At one point, he stopped eating and just looked at me as if to say, "So this is all mine?" as he stared back out into all the open fields around him. He stayed like this for a while, almost like he was in shock of all the open fields around him. Eventually, though, he did go back to eating. He will continue to stay on stall rest for the next few days and having his hoof wrapped daily until any tenderness is gone, at which point he will be allowed to go into our smaller rehab field. He is a very sweet boy and I can't wait to see him thrive. Y'all be sure to like and follow so you can get regular updates. This is part 2 of one of our worst cases to date. After we were fully aware of just how severe this poor horse's condition was after being locked in a stall for many, many years, we knew our next goal was to get him seen by our vets as soon as possible. So, we got him loaded in the trailer and started to make our way to our team of vets who were all very anxious to meet him. We didn't really know what to expect out of his vet visit. We knew he had absolutely horrible feet and along with terrible body condition. We just knew that he needed help. So we were going to help him however we could. His first steps off of the trailer really just made all of us cringe because we knew how much pain he had to be in. Our vets quickly got to work, looking him over, checking his heart and lungs, and then our next goal was getting him inside the building. All of the vets were absolutely amazing to him. There were many good boys. I'm proud of you, and you're so strong going through the air. They all quickly got to work. We first did a blood panel just to get a good idea. We checked the circulation to see if he had a good pulse still going down to his hooves. I could just see in his eyes that he wasn't ready to give up, so we just continued to work more and more. He had a wound on his back that they started working with instantly. He was very happy to get water. Every time he turned around, he had someone there wanting to give him loves or treats for that matter. The most crucial part were the x-rays. We were ready to see a lot of rotation, but he surprised us with hardly no rotation at all. Everyone was completely baffled by this. Our next task was getting him cleaned up and settled in to hopefully get him ready for the next few days ahead of him. Be sure to like and follow for part 3 and to follow his journey.